3 weeks ago, I was at a wildlife sanctuary, standing 50 meters away from a lioness. My smartphone? Completely useless. My DSLR with a telephoto lens? Weighed almost 8 pounds and cost $12,000. But then I looked to my right, and I saw a photographer with a camera that fit in their backpack, capturing the same crystal-clear detail of that lion's face as if they were standing just 5 meters away. I was stunned. That moment changed everything I thought I knew about camera technology. What you're about to see in this video is the result of spending 3 months researching, testing, and comparing the most incredible zoom cameras on the market. And I'm telling you right now, the camera that comes in at number 1 is going to blow your mind. So stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll not only know exactly which zoom camera you need, but you'll also discover which one gives you the best bang for your buck. Let's dive in. Here's the truth that camera manufacturers don't want you to know. Technology has evolved so dramatically that you no longer need to choose between portability and power. For decades, photographers faced an impossible dilemma. Either you carried a massive DSLR with interchangeable lenses that weighed you down, or you used your smartphone and accepted blurry, pixelated results that couldn't capture fine details. But here's where it gets interesting. In the last few years, bridge cameras and premium compact cameras have absolutely revolutionized what's possible. These aren't your grandma's point-and-shoot cameras. We're talking about devices with optical zoom ranges that rival professional telephoto lenses, combined with sensors that capture stunning detail, superior autofocus systems that track moving subjects, and video capabilities that rival mirrorless cameras. The problem is, there are hundreds of options out there, and most of them are either wildly overpriced or disappointingly underpowered. That's exactly why I created this comprehensive guide. I've narrowed down the absolute best options across every budget and use case. Whether you're a serious wildlife photographer, a travel enthusiast, someone shooting on a tight budget, or just someone who wants incredible zoom in a pocket-sized package. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which camera to buy and why. Let's start at the top with number 6, the Sony CyberShot RX10 Mark IV. And I want to be absolutely clear about something from the beginning. If money is genuinely no object, and you want a zoom camera that's essentially a perfect all-rounder, this is probably the one. We're talking about a camera that costs around $900 to $1,200 in the used and refurbished market, since this model was discontinued in 2017. But here's what you're actually getting for that investment. First, the optics. Sony's built-in Zeiss lens delivers a 25 times optical zoom, translating to a 24 to 600 mm full-frame equivalent focal length. That means you can capture everything from wide landscape shots to incredibly detailed distant subjects, all without changing a single lens. The lens is exceptionally sharp across the entire focal range, and you get that Zeiss optical DNA that photographers have trusted for over a century. But here's where this camera really separates itself. It features a stacked 1-inch sensor, the exact same sensor size that Sony uses in their RX100 series professional compact cameras. What does that mean in practical terms? Superior image quality, incredibly fast autofocus that locks onto subjects in just 0.03 seconds, and the ability to shoot at speeds up to 24 frames per second for consecutive images. You also get a weather-sealed body, outstanding battery life that easily gets you through a full day of shooting, and a high-resolution OLED electronic viewfinder that gives you a crystal-clear view of exactly what you're capturing. This camera screams reliability, build quality, and thoughtful engineering. If you're a serious enthusiast and you want the absolute best, this is your answer. Number 5 is an absolute legend in the zoom camera world, and if you've ever wondered what it would be like to photograph the craters on the moon or read a newspaper from across a football field, welcome to the Nikon Coolpix P1000. Now, I should mention that Nikon recently released the Coolpix P1000 as an upgraded replacement in early 2025, but the P1000 remains an incredible option if you can find it at a discount, with all the same incredible zoom capabilities. This isn't just a camera with impressive zoom. This is an instrument for extreme telephoto photography, and it's genuinely extraordinary. We're talking about a staggering 125 times optical zoom. To put that in perspective, that's a 24 to 3000 millimeter focal length equivalent. Yes, you heard that correctly, 3000 millimeters. The lens on this camera is so powerful that you can photograph birds in flight from distances that would normally require specialized wildlife telephoto lenses costing several $1,000s. The engineering inside this camera is absolutely mind-blowing. Now, let me be completely honest about the trade-offs, because there are some significant ones. The P1000 uses a smaller 1/2.3-inch sensor, which is actually quite a bit smaller than the 1-inch sensors in premium cameras, and it means it's not going to compete with premium cameras in low-light situations. The aperture maxes out at around f8 when you're at maximum zoom, which further limits its capability in dim conditions. You'll absolutely need a tripod or some serious stabilization when shooting at the extreme end of that focal range, otherwise your images will blur. However, despite these limitations, this camera still captures incredible detail, shoots in RAW for maximum flexibility during editing, records quality 4K video, and features a fully articulated touchscreen that lets you frame shots from unusual angles. If you're a wildlife photographer, a bird enthusiast, or someone who's genuinely passionate about capturing distant subjects, the P1000 or its newer P1100 replacement is the gold standard. Now we're getting into the sweet spot of the market, and number 4 is the camera I call the Goldilocks choice. It's the Panasonic Lumix FZ1000 II, and it represents something really special. Genuine balance across all the important criteria without forcing you to make massive compromises. This camera sits perfectly in the middle ground. It's more premium and substantially better built than budget options, but it won't drain your savings account like the professional tier cameras at the top of this list. The price point hovers around $700 to $800, and for that investment, you're getting a camera that's seriously well-engineered and feature-rich. The lens delivers a 25 times optical zoom with a 25 to 400 millimeter full-frame equivalent, which gives you the flexibility to shoot both intimate portraits and distant subjects without constantly switching focal lengths. Like the Sony RX10 at the top of this list, it uses a 1-inch sensor, which means you're getting genuinely impressive image quality for a camera in this class. However, unlike the Sony's stacked sensor, the Panasonic uses a traditional 1-inch sensor design, which results in a slightly slower maximum burst rate and a slower readout speed. In practical terms, you'll still capture excellent photos, but if you're constantly shooting rapid-fire sequences of fast-moving subjects, the Sony has a slight edge. But here's where the Panasonic wins with pure versatility. It's packed with beginner-friendly shooting modes that make it absolutely perfect if you're transitioning from smartphone photography to a dedicated camera. It features an incredible 4K photo mode that lets you extract individual still frames from 30 frames per second 4K video footage, which is phenomenally useful for capturing those fleeting moments of action. The battery lasts an entire day of active shooting. The ergonomics are comfortable and intuitive, and overall, this represents exceptional value. This is the camera I'd recommend if you want professional quality results without sacrificing usability or emptying your wallet. We're now entering serious budget territory, and number 3 is something really special for cost-conscious photographers, the Canon PowerShot SX70 HS. Now, I want to be completely transparent here. This camera costs around $400 to $500, and you'll notice it. The exterior is plastic rather than metal, and it uses a smaller 1/2.3-inch sensor, which is actually quite a bit smaller than the 1-inch sensors in premium cameras. This means you won't get the absolutely stunning image quality you'd get from cameras higher on this list. Here's the thing though, for casual photography, travel documentation, and everyday shooting, this camera is absolutely phenomenal, and frankly, it punches way above its price point. The 65 times optical zoom with a 24 to 1560 mm focal length equivalent is genuinely impressive. You can capture faraway subjects with clarity that would genuinely surprise you given the budget-friendly price tag. The autofocus system is reliable and reasonably fast. The battery lasts a solid half day of regular shooting, and the interface is so intuitive and user-friendly that even someone who's never held a camera before will figure it out within minutes. One of my favorite features is the fully articulated flip-out screen, which lets you shoot from shoulder height, waist level, or even angle it for self-portraits, giving you creative flexibility that's usually reserved for much more expensive cameras. The viewfinder has solid resolution, making it easy to frame shots accurately. The camera can shoot bursts at around 5 frames per second, which is adequate for most scenarios. Is this camera going to replace a professional telephoto lens setup? Absolutely not. But if you're looking for a genuinely capable, portable zoom camera that won't require you to refinance your house, this is legitimately one of the best values you can find anywhere. This is the camera for the practical person who wants quality without compromise. Number 2 might surprise you because it actually has a narrower zoom range than several cameras below it on this list. But the reason it ranks this high is because it redefines what compact photography really means. This is the Sony CyberShot RX100 VII, a camera that's been the gold standard for travel and street photography for years, and honestly, it deserves the reputation. This camera is literally small enough to fit in your jacket pocket. We're talking about a device that weighs around 8.5 ounces, approximately 240 grams, and measures approximately 4 by 2.3 by 1.6 inches. Yet despite this incredibly compact form factor, you're getting a stacked 1-inch sensor, the same premium sensor Sony uses in their professional compact line, which captures absolutely stunning image quality with incredible detail and dynamic range. The 24 to 200 mm focal length equivalent might not sound like massive zoom, but it's actually the perfect balance for travel and documentary photography where versatility matters more than extreme zoom. Here's what makes this camera special. The burst rate reaches an impressive 20 frames per second, which lets you capture fast action with multiple shots to ensure you get the perfect moment. You get a pop-up electronic viewfinder for composing shots on sunny days when your screen is washed out, a tilt-out screen for waist-level shooting angles, and a genuinely useful pop-up flash that works perfectly as a fill light in harsh sunlight. The autofocus system uses Sony's proprietary real-time tracking technology, which means your subjects stay in focus even while they're moving. The battery lasts an entire day of regular shooting, and the build quality is exceptional. Now, the premium version of this camera costs around $1,000 to $1,200, which is significant. But here's my recommendation. You can find older models in the RX100 series on the used market for $300 to $600, and they still perform beautifully. Whether you're documenting travels, capturing street photography, or just want a camera that doesn't make you feel like you're hauling around professional equipment, this is arguably the best compact zoom solution that exists. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, the #1 zoom camera that combines capability, affordability, and pure everyday practicality is the Canon PowerShot SX740 HS. And I know what you're thinking. This is the budget option, right? Well, yes and no. This camera costs around $300 to $350, which makes it genuinely affordable, but calling it just a budget option would be selling it short because it's genuinely brilliant at what it does. The 40x optical zoom with a 24 to 960 mm focal length equivalent strikes the perfect balance between zoom range and practical usability. You get significantly more telephoto reach than the compact Sony, but you're not stepping into the extreme territory of the Nikon P1000 where portability becomes a real issue. This camera is built on the exact same design philosophy as the SX70 higher on this list, which means it shares the same intuitive interface and user-friendly operations, but with slightly different specifications. The form factor is where this camera truly excels. It's incredibly compact. You can literally throw this in your backpack or even a large jacket pocket without thinking about it. The 2.3-inch sensor does mean the image quality won't match premium options. But here's what I've discovered through testing. In daylight and moderate lighting conditions, the results are genuinely impressive. The focal length gives you the flexibility to photograph everything from wide landscapes to distant subjects. There's no viewfinder on this model, but the flip-up screen gives you creative shooting options and makes taking selfies completely effortless. The burst mode reaches up to 10 frames per second, which is adequate for most photography scenarios. The battery lasts a solid half day of active shooting, and the learning curve is essentially zero. Anyone can pick this up and start capturing quality photos immediately. But here's where this camera becomes truly special. If you want to save even more money, you can find the Panasonic Lumix Z80 for slightly less, which includes a viewfinder and competitive specs. But unfortunately, it's been discontinued, so availability is limited to second-hand markets. The Canon SX740 HS is the perfect blend of affordability, practicality, and genuine capability. This is the camera that'll make you question why you ever relied solely on smartphone photography. Okay, so we've covered all 6 cameras individually, but here's what really matters. How do these cameras actually perform when you're out in the real world, and which one should you choose for your specific situation? Let me walk you through several real-world scenarios because, honestly, the best camera is the one that matches your actual needs, not the most expensive option. Scenario 1. Wildlife photography. If you're serious about photographing animals, especially birds in flight or distant subjects like big cats, the Nikon P1000 is genuinely in a league of its own. That 125x zoom is a game changer, and while you'll definitely need a tripod for stabilization, the detail you'll capture is worth the extra effort. The Sony RX10 IV is an excellent alternative if you're willing to sacrifice some zoom range for better low-light performance and faster burst shooting. Scenario 2. Travel photography. You want a camera that fits in your carry-on luggage, doesn't weigh you down, and captures quality memories. The Sony RX100 VII is absolutely perfect for this. The compact size combined with exceptional image quality and a versatile focal range makes it the traveling photographer's dream. Alternatively, if you want to save several $100s and don't mind a slightly less premium experience, the Canon SX740 HS is a legitimate alternative that still captures quality photos. Scenario 3. Casual everyday photography. You want something easy to use, affordable, and capable of capturing good images without a learning curve. Both the Canon SX70 HS and the SX740 HS excel here, and honestly, the choice between them comes down to your specific zoom and portability preferences. The SX740 is more compact, while the SX70 has better overall features and a more rugged build. Scenario 4. Finding the middle ground. If you want a camera that does everything reasonably well without major compromises, the Panasonic Lumix FZ1000 II is literally perfect. It's premium enough to feel professional, affordable enough to not cause financial stress, and versatile enough to handle virtually any photography scenario you throw at it. Here's what I've learned from months of testing these cameras. The best camera isn't always the most expensive. It's the one that aligns with how you actually take photographs and what matters most to your specific situation. Look, here's the thing. Zoom camera technology has gotten absolutely insane over the last few years, and there's genuinely never been a better time to upgrade if you've been thinking about it. But before you make any decisions, I need you to do something for me. Hit that subscribe button right now because we're constantly testing new camera equipment and breaking down exactly which products deserve your money and which ones are just expensive marketing hype. We're also going to be releasing detailed video comparisons where you can actually see the output quality from each of these cameras side by side, so you can make a completely informed decision. Drop a comment below and tell me, which camera are you leaning towards? Are you a wildlife photographer, a casual traveler, or someone who just wants better zoom than their smartphone? Your feedback genuinely helps me create content that actually matters to you. Also, if you found this video helpful, please hit that like button. It tells YouTube's algorithm that this content deserves to be seen by more people. If you want even more detailed information about any of these cameras, I've linked full review articles, current pricing, and availability information in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video where we're comparing these cameras in a real-world wildlife shoot. Don't miss it.